let's get into some Atlanta stuff that we need to talk about. We got to talk about NeNe and we got to talk about Phaedra Parks. Who should we talk about first? Look, let's talk about NeNe. So, as you know, NeNe has been in the news recently because she's being sued. She's being sued by her boyfriend Naomi's wife in North Carolina, which is one of the 7 states that allows for a wife to sue uh, uh, the other woman, to sue anyone that might be interfering with their marriage. So it's not just the other woman. It could be the church. It could be your best friend. So one of 7 states are able. 7 states are able to do this, specifically North Carolina. They've done it quite a few times. As you already know, NeNe came out recently on IG Live saying that who's stealing husbands? Not me. We shall see how that's going to be handled in the court of law. But as you also know, NeNe is suing money outside of Bravo. There are a lot of allegations that are coming from this lawsuit. So NeNe now is saying that it was one network person. That was her recent tweet. She's saying it was one network person. Let me get into this. And this is coming from our friends over at lovebscott.com. Let me just bring this up so I can read this to you guys. All right. Hold on. Not that one yet. So our friends over at Love B. Scott are reporting this, and this is from NeNe's Twitter, okay? So they report NeNe Leakes is speaking out against her former employer with more allegations of being, quote, blacklisted. The former reality star took to Twitter to claim that one network person is responsible for no other networks wanting to work with her. So as you can see from this tweet, NeNe posted saying, isn't it amazing how one network person can have an issue with you and have every network not work with you? Let's talk about it. Hashtag discrimination, hashtag retaliation, hashtag blacklisted, hashtag blackball, hashtag not fair, hashtag do you see this? I'm sorry, y'all. I couldn't. The hashtags were killing me. Okay, the hashtags were killing me. All right, but she didn't stop there. She also updated her Instagram, her bio, her Twitter bio, and she changed it to blacklisted for telling the truth and not wanting to be abused anymore. Receipts. We are still waiting on the receipts, though. Oh, NeNe. Here's the thing with NeNe, and I've said this before, and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse when it comes to this. NeNe, first of all, she's saying one network person, and I'm thinking she's talking about Andy Cohen. This is the same man on his birthday. Sidebar: Andy and Anderson Cooper are Geminis. Anyways, same person she was on IG. Oh, yes, Andy's birthday. Happy birthday, Andy. We need to have a conversation.
Asking about coming back to Housewives. You guys are always asking me about coming back to Housewives. Now the chances of that is going to be very slim. But I would like to say happy birthday, Andy. I heard it was your. We're going to stop this bullshit ass beefing. And today I heard it was his birthday, so I'm going to wish him a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Andy. Oh my God, I hope you're well.
A conversation about what? A conversation about what, NeNe? So, okay, that conversation with you and Andy will do what? So that you now will have an open door to come back to Real Housewives of Atlanta? Would you really want to go back to a place where you have all of these different allegations of discrimination against? She literally just this week, as I said to you before on her Instagram live, was wishing Andy a happy birthday and saying that she wants to have a conversation, that they need to have a conversation. Now she's saying in a tweet that it was one network person. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily Andy, but who is the person at the network that she had the closest relationship with? Andy Cohen. And I'm sure NBC's legal department and Bravo's legal department are gathering their own receipts of how contradictory NeNe has been in interviews on her social media, accusing the network of one thing, but in the same breath saying another thing. Do I believe her accusations against the networks? Of course. But do I believe it coming from her? And her intentions behind it? We've been going back and forth when we discuss Kanye or when we talk about Monique recently, that I am tired of these celebrities, these reality TV stars, using people's real pain, people's real discrimination for their own egos and benefit. And that's exactly for all you NeNe lovers that want to be like, oh, but Bravo. Yes, Bravo is a mess. But NeNe's intention here, I do not trust it. It seems so I can't even think of the word. It's not to help the as Monique would say, the ones coming behind you. Self-serving. There we go. Elephant brain. And I've said this before, and NeNe's going back and forth about this. I'm just like, you keep showing your hand, NeNe. You have so many valid points in her lawsuit. And I'm sure this was the attorney gathering the facts, which were very easy, Bravo. Very easy, because we've seen it in plain sight. It's just the messenger. It's the messenger. Since we're talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, we got to talk about Phaedra Parks. Phaedra Parks was a guest on Wendy Williams' show this week with Michael Rappaport. Lord have mercy. So Phaedra was on the Wendy Williams show. Wendy hasn't been on the show in so long, I can't even call it the Wendy Williams show. I'm like, she was on the Wendy Williams show that hasn't been hosted by Wendy in like a year. Anyways, so Phaedra was on the Wendy Williams show. And of course, she was asked about the whole Kandi situation. And she was talking about how, would she be willing to go back to Atlanta? Let's take a listen to what she said, because she says it better than me. And it goes back to my theory. I had a theory, right? It goes back to my theory that don't be surprised if we see Phaedra move to Dubai and be a part of the Real Housewives of Dubai. But let's just take a listen. Hold on one second, y'all.
But Tyrone's got to show up. Now, there was so much drama when you left the show with Kandi. Kandi said she wouldn't leave the show if you come back. Have you spoken to Kandi? Have you seen her? Have you bumped into her? What is your opinion of Kandi?
I've seen her out, but Candace's a great businesswoman, but that was 6 years ago.
It was.
And so as you well know, I'm yachting in Dubai. So, I'll leave the girls in Atlanta on the Titanic.
I got you.
So,
not the Titanic.
Now, speaking of Dubai, you showed up in the Real Housewives of Dubai trailer.
Yes.
And the internet almost broke. Like, people were like, what's happening? What is Phaedra doing in Dubai? Is she on the show? Has she moved to Dubai? What is your connection with the Real Housewives of Dubai?
Well, so I know Caroline Brooks,
okay,
but I have a company that I have over there. I sell sea moss. And so I sell powdered sea moss. And so I do business over there, but I also do a little electronic sort of company over there as well. So I'm over there quite a bit.
Electronic company.
And when I found out that Caroline Brooks was going to be on the show, I called Andy and I was just laughing about it. And Andy said, okay, you got to do a scene with her. And I said, Andy, I'm on the way to the airport. He's like, so when are you coming back? I was like, 2 weeks. He's like, okay, when you come back, you got to make it happen. And so when I came back, I was like, sure. So that's how it came to be.
Well, it freaked me out. Like, I was very excited.
So I'm going to be purchasing a home there. So.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you never know. You might be a Real Housewives of Dubai. Also, I mentioned NeNe in the Hot Topics. Do you speak to NeNe? Do you think NeNe would be a husband stealer? Does she need to steal anybody else's husband? And would you represent her if this case really goes down?
Ooh, Chile.
Chile.
Ooh, Chile. You know what? I love NeNe. We are obviously from the same hometown. And I do speak to NeNe, and I support NeNe. And I'm not sure what this is about, but I'm gonna just be praying for her.
Okay.
Okay. Because I
Just
She's just gonna be praying for her. That says to me, first of all, would you hire Faye? So I told you before, I told you in the comment section, Caroline Brooks had said, oh, Dubai is her second home. Don't be surprised. She still has a very good relationship with Andy Cohen and the franchise. And the only reason why they haven't brought her back to Atlanta, the Titanic, is because of the whole Candy situation. But now is her way. She's going to buy a home in Dubai. Okay, Shady Faye still up to shady business. Allegedly. She's got a powdered sea moss company and an electronic something. She couldn't even say what it was. Phaedra is, I mean, first of all, Phaedra stays with some sort of business, okay? What happened to the mortuary business? What happened to the law firm? Okay. All right. Anyways. So apparently, don't be surprised if you see Shady Faye. The reason why we're going to see her is because she has a relationship with Caroline Brooks, but they also wanted her to be a part of the show because so many of you still want Phaedra to be a part of the franchise.